In my last video, I explained how and why atoms bond to form molecules. But understanding how these molecules are arranged in three-dimensional space is just as important because it affects their chemistry. I explained that molecules form when atomic orbitals overlap, creating bonds. The number and type of bonds are dictated by the orbital's energy and symmetry. And specific orbitals give us insights into a molecule's potential geometry. Yet, relying solely on atomic orbitals can lead to an uneven energy distribution or asymmetrical shapes. Consider methane. How do we arrange 4 hydrogen atoms using 1 s orbital and 3 p orbitals? It's challenging to find a logical structure. This is where hybridization helps. It merges atomic orbitals into new equivalent hybrid orbitals, forming symmetrical structures. For example, in methane, hybridization results in 4 identical sp3 orbitals, arranging in a tetrahedral shape that aligns perfectly. We can then link this concept to valence shell electron pair repulsion theory, or VSEPR theory, which states that electron domains repel each other to maximize spatial separation, much like charges in a magnetic field. So what I mean is an electron domain being a region around an atom occupied by bonded atoms or lone pairs causes these repulsions, and these interactions influence the shape formed by the hybrid orbitals, ensuring the molecule adopts the most stable and symmetrical structure. So the best approach to understanding molecular geometries is to identify the electron domains in the molecule. From there, we can determine the hybridization, which establishes the base geometry. Finally, we assess how the electron domains interact, considering the additional repulsions caused by lone pairs, which can lead to deviations in the base geometry. So by combining these principles, we can accurately predict and understand the complex shapes of molecules. So let's explore how to actually apply this. In my last video, I shared an easy way to determine hybridization. Count the electron domains, again that's the bonded atoms and lone pairs, around the central atom, then match them to the orbital types in this order: S, P, 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 D, 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 D. So here's the breakdown. For 2 electron domains, we have sp hybridization. For 3 electron domains, we have sp2. For 4, we have sp3. For 5, we have sp3d, and so on. So let's go through some examples. Example 1, carbon dioxide. First, draw the Lewis structure. Carbon dioxide has 2 bonded electron domains and no lone pairs. This corresponds to sp or sp hybridization, forming 2 hybrid orbitals opposite each other. And also, to minimize repulsions, these align opposite to each other. This results in a linear geometry with 180-degree bond angles. Example 2, aluminium trichloride. Aluminium has 3 bonded electron domains and no lone pairs. This corresponds to spp or sp2 hybridization, and its orbitals look like this, creating a trigonal planar geometry with 120-degree bond angles. Example 3, methane. Methane has 4 bonded electron domains, leading to sp3 hybridization with this orbital shape. The resulting geometry is tetrahedral with bond angles of approximately 109.5. Example 4, ammonia. Ammonia has 3 bonded atoms and 1 lone pair for a total of 4 electron domains. This also corresponds to the sp3 hybridization with this orbital geometry. The lone pair, however, slightly distorts the shape, creating a trigonal pyramidal geometry with bond angles of just less than 109.5. Example 5, phosphorus pentachloride. It has 5 electron domains. This corresponds to sp3d hybridization, and there are no lone pairs, so we get trigonal bipyramidal geometry with angles at 90 degrees and 120 degrees. So to summarize, bonds form through orbital overlap, and their symmetry and energetic favorability can be explained using concepts like hybridization. Hybridization then provides a base geometry, but according to VSEPR theory, electron domains create repulsions that further adjust the final structure. And in my next video, I'll show you an even simpler way to determine the geometry. But that's all for now, so thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.